So we are in the technology front. So let us explore some about chemical engineering. So what is chemical engineering? So if you listen to this word, you may come up with many thoughts in mind. So before telling about chemical engineering in 2021, let me take this time to get you back for a history to history. Let me tell some history about chemical engineering, how it started and how it evolved as part my learnings. So chemical engineering is not new. So you're not hearing chemical engineering in 2020 or 2021. It has started way back in the history in 1859. On an August afternoon in the 1859, a formal railroad conductor drigged a hole hired by a Pennsylvania oil company, which is in the Pennsylvania state. So he drilled a hole 69 and a feet into the earth, and the whole new world of chemical engineering sprang forth. A world made possible by a group of chemical engineers, names like Brown, Olson, Walker, and many others. We would fall if someone is following and they would see the promise in the future. So in 1908, a group of chemical engineers saw the promise in future and came together with a mission to advance the profession and to serve the society. So chemical engineering, we live in a world which is unrecognizable without the contribution made by chemical engineers. Right from the toothpaste you use till the time you go to bed, everything is a product of chemical engineering for that matter. You see, toothpaste, chair, vaccines, fan, laptop, everything is some or other way. It's a mixture of chemical engineering aspect. So and one more point, you are much aware of it. You know, Haber's process. You studied in your chemistry in intermediate, which is 7 marks IP question. I think so. You're already aware of Haber's process. Ammonia synthesis, N2 plus N2 plus H2 gives us to 2NH3. So it started with ammonia process as well. There were no fertilizers and other mechanisms to produce food in a large extent. So it's an idea of a chemist and a chemical engineer came together and worked on synthesis of ammonia through Haber's process, and from then it kept on adding value to the human life in fertilizer, on food industry, or any other industries. So it's all about history, chemical engineering. There is a much history, but I would like to complete it in a nutshell with short. So this is history. And coming to what is chemical engineering, if you go into the Google and search, it may tell you it's a process of converting raw material into products. Yes, it's a process of converting raw materials through a designed, structured process and getting a desired or a well designed product. Yes, but in the process we get to know more about the topics involved, and I would like to emphasis on this point. Most of people who come to take this chemical engineering in assumption that chemical engineering is all about chemistry. So I would like to emphasize more on this. Chemical engineering is not just only about chemistry, but it's a mixture of all engineering aspects. So in intermediate, you may make assumptions according to your weaknesses and strengths. Let's say if you are good at math, so you search for mathematics opportunities that are available. And if you are good at physics and chemistry, so you search for that related courses in engineering or any other platforms. So whatever you are interested, you are good at math, you are good at biology, you are good at physics and chemistry, we have a place for you in chemical engineering. So we mix, it's a mixture of all those things, right? So how chemical engineering goes. So it's a process from raw materials to products. In the process, there are, so let's take this example. So some of your friends visited your home and they asked, so you are about to have milk for them. So you on the stove and put the pan on that stove and you heated the milk. So one of them came to you and said, "Hey, chemical engineer, what's the process going on? Actually, I want to know what's it." So you put on the stove and heating that milk or water. So what's the process? Yeah, of course, we all know it's a heating process. Yeah, it's heating process. And what's more, it's boiling. Yes, it's boiling. And what's more, It's bubble formation. You see bubbles forming in the water. Yes, it's bubble form. What's more? So that more you study in chemical engineering. And you watch a cricket match. You watch a cricket match and assume that Rohit Sharma is beside you, sitting beside you, and Virat Kohli hit a six. And the ball, the previous ball was not six. Now it's a six, right? So Rohit Sharma comes to you and asks, "Dear engineer, dear chemical engineer, so what's the reason that Kohli hit a ball and went into the audience? It's a six. Why not the previous ball?" So you may answer, Rohit, it's a just a force acting upon the ball with the bat. Yes, it's a force acting upon the ball. And you also and he asks, "What's more?" You tell it's a gravity also. Right? Gravity also impacts more on that. Yes, it's a gravity also. And what's more, it's a drag coefficient, Rohit. So drag coefficient and all fluid mechanics concepts. Yes, thermal boundary layer, Rohit. Yeah. So if you and what's more, that more you study in chemical engineering. So you need not to be a chemical engineer to answer those all questions, but a chemical engineer can answer all those questions. So if you look at the subjects, it starts from fluid mechanics, ranging from fluid mechanics to thermodynamics, heat transfer, mass transfer, chemical reaction engineering, plant design, transport phenomena. These are all applicative. So as I said, engineering is around you, chemical engineering is around you, within you, inside your body, outside your body, around you. So it's all there, chemical engineering. So, but why you want to be a chemical engineer, apart from all other engineers? So it's all depends on your passion and profession you want to be, right? Even though I tell more, but your interest also matters here, right? So I have a lot many points to tell, but within short, I'm concluding. So these are some examples, and it is important to know, like we use fuel, petrol and diesel and all. And yeah, move on to the next slide, Madhu. I'll explain that too. Yeah, so petrol and all. So it's again how petrol is made. Someone asks you, you can tell as a chemical engineer. And now you see fossil fuels are extincting. So chemical engineering is going to extinction? No. Chemical engineers are also looking at solving environmental problems in a sustainable way. So chemical engineers are sustainable engineers as well. And if you look at the slide now, which is presenting now, chemical engineering, universal it is. It is not only a process engineer or a design engineer. You went into the oil and natural gas industry or something like pharma industry, and you look at job as a process engineer or design engineer. You look at the whole process. Everywhere there is a process exists in the manufacturing of every product. So you see a product, you see a chemical engineering. What not? You name it, we have it in chemical engineering. So it may be renewable energy. It may be chemical engineering. So the slide you see in the right corner, white color chemical engineering, it's in the lab scale. And the immediate next you see, it's in industrial scale. So it's a process from lab to industry. It's an atom to atmosphere journey, right? If I say atom to atmosphere, how big it is, atmosphere and atom. And these are some of the opportunities you can have it in the chemical industries, in renewable energy sector, and in pharmaceuticals. And it's advanced pharmaceuticals. It's an intersection of artificial intelligence and other IoT and all those things with chemical engineering. And you can enter into the space research institutes like ISRO, NASA, where propulsions and propulsions of fuel is dealt with chemical engineers. And you take the human body, which is presenting on the screen, making of all these metal polymer stents, artificial knees. It's all material science and intersection of chemical engineering that you read in the chemical engineering subjects. So it's all mixture. As I said, it's a intersection of all those. And chemical engineering alone cannot do all those things. It's again intersection. If you combine with a material science guy, if you combine with a metallurgical thing, so you can innovate a product, right? So move on to the next slide. If you see the opportunities after BTech in chemical engineering, you have an employment opportunity which you can get through if you want a government or a reputed job. So you can have this opportunity to write GATE after 4th year and now in 3rd year also, and other related institute related exams like BRC exam and all. So you can have this opportunity to be employed right after the BTech. And some of the companies, private institutes or public organizations which offer jobs for chemical engineering are ONGC, IOC, Department of Atomic Energy. In Department of Atomic Energy, we have various bodies, again, NFC, BRC, NPCL, IGCAR, Indira Gandhi Center for Atomic Research, and pharmaceutical like Reddy's Laboratory, Aurobindo, cement industries, paints, paper industries, a lot more. And if you want to excel in the same field, you are very passionate. I would not end up my chemical engineering with BTech. You are welcome for that as well. You have many opportunities available in masters, MTech in chemical engineering in IITs through GATE, in IITs or IISc, and masters in chemical engineering abroad, and PhD mainly. And most of the engineering interested chemical engineers, I feel, move on to the PhD in chemical engineering to excel and other allied areas. So chemical engineering is not only the title in chemical engineering, but specializations also includes. So this is something about chemical engineering and the journey of chemical. And I would suggest, like, world is full of no sayers at the ground level. So these are all learnings I have learned from mentors and professors of chemical engineers around the globe. And we have supporting bodies like Indian Institute of Chemical Engineers, IICHE, American Institute of Chemical Engineers, AICHE, and many other, who supports chemical engineers. They want to excel in the chemical. As we enter into the new era of chemical engineers and new challenges, our charge is perhaps increased than any other time. And our aim is not to only protect our legacy, but to keep up the promise. Let's keep up this promise and move on. So let's be a chemical engineer, right? So thank you. So I hope you got some clarity about chemical engineer, and you can always refer to various sources that are available about engineering branches.